Howdy folks, I'm out here with Gulf Coast Fit. I'm cold, stiff, I need to warm up for my lifting session, and I'm going to share with you 5 animal movements that I feel are great mobility enhancers, also help with muscle flexibility. A good way to gradually get your body weight or your core body temperature elevated, maybe before a workout, or it could straight up be some conditioning / mobility work in and of itself, because it can get your heart rate pumping pretty easily, depending on the duration you're doing this type of work, how fast you're going, and what type of combinations you're doing. So I would like to share 5 of my favorite animal walks, and this is the first video in probably a 3 or 4 part series. So I'm kind of starting with some of the most basic animal walks. I like to do this for mobility in my joints, especially my shoulders and hips, flexibility in my muscles, and like I said, to get my body temperature warmed up, to bust a little sweat so that I can move on to the next component of my training. So without further ado, let's start with animal walk number 1. That's a bear crawl. There's different ways you can do bear crawls. You can go forward, backwards, sideways. Shoot, you could even go diagonal. But when you're doing a bear crawl, this is a quadruped movement. You're on all fours, hands and toes. Keep your back as level and as neutral as possible. It's a contralateral movement, so try to move your opposite arm with your opposite leg. And keep your breathing steady, because this is a silent, sneaky way to get your heart rate really pounding. So try to give you a couple different angles here. I'll do a forward bear crawl first, and then a reverse bear crawl. Notice how I was moving opposite arms at the same time as opposite legs. I'll give you a sideways bear crawl now. Now, when you're doing a sideways bear crawl, you can either go hand to hand and foot to foot, or you can overlap. I kind of like to overlap to enhance the range of motion that I'm putting my joints through. It'll give me a little more of a brain workout, so you might see me getting tripped up a little bit. Now I'm thinking a little bit less about the timing of my opposite appendages moving in conjunction with each other, and I'm really just focusing on not tripping over myself. So just to give you a heads up there. Now we're going to move into the next animal movement, and this is an elephant walk. I like this one because it puts our shoulder and our arms in an overhead position, a little bit more so, different angle and range of motion, and it also gives us good hamstring and calf stretch. So we're going to pike the hips up high, get yourself a nice hamstring and calf stretch, and we're going to move forward, opposite hand, opposite foot. Alright, now, it might not be as common to do things in reverse and go backwards, but I like the challenge, and I do think that the variety adds a little something more to the benefits of these animal walks. Next up, we're going to roll with a gorilla walk. A couple things I really like about gorilla walks. One, you're moving in the frontal plane. Now we're moving sideways instead of front to back. 2, you get some transverse movement in, so you get a little shoulder rotation, spinal twist rotation. So check it out. Oh, and also it's great hip mobility. Start down here in a deep squat, plant your hands on the outside, kind of catapult or pole vault yourself sideways. Make sure you're twisting. Land softly. Stay low. And that is a gorilla walk. I like that one a lot. Deep hip mobility. Next up, we'll move into my arch nemesis, the crab walk. I hate crab walks. I'm no good at them. It's very hard for my body personally to execute these, but I know they're good for me. So I'm going to eat my broccoli, brush my teeth, and do my crab walks. So we're going to sit on our butts, arms behind you. Going to lift the hips up. We're moving forward in the most awkward manner we could think of. Whew. That's so hard for me. Hard to get my shoulders behind me, but it's a good way to strengthen my shoulders in an awkward angle. It's hard for me to get my hips up off the ground, and overall very challenging, but I appreciate them, so I do them. Number 5, feeling alive. We're going to go with a lizard crawl or a lizard walk. Now, I also like these for the shoulder mobility aspect. We get a good chest and front deltoid stretch, and we get a great hip opener, kind of like a runner's lunge or a lizard pose in yoga. Kind of combines push-ups, a push-up type of motion with a lizard pose. Swing one leg out wide, dip down, opposite shoulder dips down, come back up, walk the hands forward. So you'll see I dip the opposite shoulder down to get a deep pec stretch, and I also take 4 or 5 hand steps for every swing of the leg. So just so you know, there's a lot going on there, but give all 5 of these a go, depending on the distance you're heading, if you're going forward and backwards, or the duration that you're executing these. You might do 1 round of each. That could be enough, but it's also a good thing to build on session after session, week after week. Maybe you add 5 more meters, maybe you add 20, 30 more seconds, maybe you add another round. So keep progressing, just like any part of your training, so you get more benefits and more results. See you on video 2.